My name is Jillian Perrick, and I'm a lover of all things orange chocolate. Think One Tree Hill is way better than the OC. And as a person who stutters, I hope to one day inspire women with invisible disabilities to overcome their limiting beliefs and start the business of their dreams, just like I did. I'm a mindset coach specializing in imposter syndrome, helping women beat their inner imposter using neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, and time techniques. And this is the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. This podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneurial woman trying to navigate the online space with a lot of passion and a lot of uncertainty. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. This podcast will take you from imposter to empowered with ninja-like brain hacks, easy to implement strategies, and uplifting real talk to make you feel like everything you want is in reach. Let's get started, girlfriend. Hey everybody. So I wanted to make this episode pretty short and sweet. And this came to me when I was talking to a client who does this a lot when it comes to how she perceives herself in her life. And it just sparked this idea in me. So first of all, we're going to talk about shoulding. So shoulding all over ourselves. And this is actually a cognitive distortion. So if you don't know what that is, a cognitive distortion is basically a fucked up way of thinking. It's a dysfunctional thinking pattern that we believe to be normal, but there are actually I think there's 12 or 13 of them, and there's a lot. But we're going to specifically talk about this one, and if you guys really enjoyed this episode, then we can talk about them again in a future episode. But so cognitive distortions are derived from cognitive behavioral therapy. And again, they are basically dysfunctional ways of thinking. Fucked up ways of thinking is what I like to say. So one of those cognitive distortions is should. So I should be doing this. I should be going to this university. I should be able to get clients at this point, blah, blah, blah. And even though it sounds really innocent, should actually holds a lot of things under the surface that we may not even realize. And that's because should could be coming from your childhood in terms of somebody saying you got a B, you should have gotten an A, or you were upset about something that your sister said to you, you shouldn't be upset, you shouldn't have emotion. And even though that seems really extreme, we learn that there is a right or a wrong way to do things. And this is actually kind of similar to black or white thinking as well, in regards to thinking that there is a right or wrong way to do things in terms of the way to do life or the way to do business or what have you. So should implies that there is a right or a wrong way to do things. Should implies that there is a different way that you are not doing and that you should be doing. And the reason why I say stop shoulding all over yourself is because we take this stuff as truth. So my client was talking about how specifically when it comes to her family, they believe that there is a certain way in order for a person to conduct their post-secondary education, what they should be doing to achieve what they want in terms of their goals and their career path. So when it comes to my client, she was having a really hard time figuring out why she wasn't so aligned to her career path. And she was putting a lot of shoulds on her, I should feel a lot of joy for my job. I should feel like this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I should. And when we really peeled back the layers, it was because she was around people who were always talking about how she should feel joy from her job because they do. But even just thinking that, me personally, I love being a coach. I love doing this and I love running this business. And if I didn't, it would be really hard to do everything. But it's not the be all and end all of my life. I'm creating a more financially expansive way of living for myself, which allows me to have the freedom, the time freedom, and the financial freedom to do all the amazing things that I want to do. But coaching is not my entire life. And I don't derive all of my joy from my coaching business. I really, really enjoy it and I love it so much. And I love working with my clients, but it's not the only place in which I derive joy, and it's not the be all and end all. So again, this is just so supportive of the notion that our thoughts and our feelings around our belief system is rooted in what we learned as children and what we have taken as truth when it comes to the world and the people around us and what we perceive about ourselves. And when you should all over yourself, you are telling yourself that there is a right or a wrong way to do things, and you're usually doing it the wrong way. But this also means that a lot of the time we're thinking, oh, I should be able to get clients right now, but I don't know how it's going to happen. There's usually no desired outcome or actual solution. We're just thinking it should be different. Like, for example, when I was starting out in the online space, I was writing blogs because I thought I should. I thought I should write blogs because then people come to your website and then they want to work with you. Like, where did that belief come from? I can't even tell you, but it was there. And not even that, but when I would write the blogs, I would really stop myself from writing the blogs because I thought it should be more professional. It should be this, it should be that. But there was no actual outcome. There was no actual thing that I was like, oh, it should be this because I've seen it exactly like this. And this is how it's supposed to be written. And this is how good it's supposed to be. It was so arbitrary and so vague as to how things should be. And that's also a symptom of perfectionism as well, in terms of being like, I know it's not perfect, or I think it's not perfect, but it should be, but there's no actual view of what perfect is. Is this making sense? Like, having a should is like basically saying there's no way you're going to actually achieve this result. And this leads us to always feeling like nothing we do is good enough, or nothing we're working on is going to make the cut or be exceptional because we think it should be a certain way. And this can be the same for, like, let's take a relationship. Let's say you're in a relationship with somebody and you're like, why doesn't he do this for me, or why doesn't he do that for me, or she? And when you're thinking that, you have an ideal in your mind of what they should be doing, but that is coming from experiences from your childhood, or something that you saw in a book or a movie or in another relationship. And you have to realize that we are all different people with all different beliefs and thoughts and feelings. And when that happens, should is kind of null and void. Should is just something that you've made up in your head, and it actually can harm us more than it can do us any good. And especially when it comes to our own self-worth, like, when you, like, let's say you're a business owner and you're not taking any action in your business and you think, oh, I should be doing this. It's just a way for us to feel guilt and shame. And if you are really used to shoulding all over yourself, I really encourage you to think about, when you tell yourself, I should be doing this, notice it and be like, where is this coming from? What do I think should be the result of this? What do I think I should have accomplished? For example, when I started my business, I told myself I can't start my business until I'm done my master's. And I told myself I should be done my master's because then I'm more credible. But in reality, there are so many people in the online space that don't even have a degree, and they're very successful coaches. So that should came from a belief of mine in terms of I should be highly educated because then people will take me seriously. And it's so much more layered than that in terms of just my own beliefs and what I think to be true. But not everybody thinks like me. There are different people in the world that have different beliefs, that have different ways of living, that had completely different childhoods, that have different shoulds. And if we think about the coaching space as well, sometimes we have expectations of how coaches should be. And yeah, there are some like pretty standard things, but we also have some instances in which people are expecting different things because those are their beliefs. There was somebody that I knew that had a client who thought that her coach should review all of her content within the first 12 hours of receiving it, but that wasn't even in her contract. And at the end of the day, this client had an opinion about what this coach should be doing for her. And because she just decided to root that thought of should in her mind as truth, she didn't question it, and that caused a rift between the coach and the client. So this sounds really complicated, but essentially what I'm saying is that when it comes to your own personal development, when it comes to your business, when it comes to all of these things, the should is something that you should, oh my God, now I'm saying should. The should is something that you should pay attention to in terms of When you hear should in your mind, what is it tracing you back to? What belief is it bringing you back to? And is that belief rooted in fact? Is it really incumbent on your mental and physical well-being? Or is it simply just a belief that you have that you probably need to release and let go of and revamp in order to serve your highest good? So stop shoulding all over yourself. Analyze those thoughts, figure out where they're coming from, because it's usually just a belief that you have that can be released, especially with NLP. If you're interested in an NLP breakthrough session to help you release any of these shoulds that may be holding you back and causing you to not take any action, then you can go to the link in my show notes and book an NLP breakthrough session. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast with me, Jillian Perrick. If you loved this episode, take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram story. And don't forget to tag me at Your Coach Jill. Of course, I'd love for you to rate the podcast 5 stars and leave a review. And if you screenshot your review and send it to me at Your Coach Jill on Instagram, I'll send you a free gift. At the very least, make sure you follow me on Instagram, again at Your Coach Jill, for tons of free content, strategies, and inspo. See you next time.